are these people?
Trump is no free speech warrior. He's just as guilty of censorship as Biden. Trump, Biden, dude, they're the same guy, the same policies in so many ways. So this is Ricky at Council of State Media, a Indie Media Award honoree. All right. The Trump administration is making it easier for payment apps like PayPal to ban users for any reason, and we've talked about this extensively, which is why I brought this, including expressing opinions they disapprove of. We've seen this for years. Richard Medhurst we've known that if you mention the word Syria or Palestine in any kind of PayPal payment, they'll refund it or they'll block it from getting through. Okay, what it says is that this means we could be entering a world where you're not allowed to earn money unless your opinions meet the approval of corporations. This would be the ultimate way to shield our dying systems of capitalism and imperialism. The Republican plan is to repeal a rule implemented by the CFPB to require companies to resolve disputes in a smooth and timely manner. The change would make it much harder for customers to challenge unfair decisions, and they could very deliberately be left in limbo. PayPal, of course, has been partnering with our friends at the ADL, an organization that seems to exist solely to shut down criticism of Israel under the guise of fighting anti-Semitism and racism. In this era of mass surveillance and artificial intelligence, we could easily find ourselves demonetized for saying something as simple as Free Palestine, and that is very much the goal here. All right, so ominously, the ADL announced recently in a press release, and this is a warning to all of us content creators, quote, the initiative with PayPal will be led through ADL's Center on Extremism, a leading authority on extremism, terrorism, and hate. PayPal and ADL will focus on further uncovering and disrupting the financial pipelines that support extremist and hate movements. In addition to extremist and anti-government organizations, the initiative will focus on actors and networks spreading and profiting from all forms of hate and bigotry against any community. Whoa. Okay. It's worth pointing out that the ADL considers pro-Palestinian activism to be a form of anti-Semitism, even though Palestinians are Semites, as its own press release that it is says it's targeting anti-government organizations, so you can imagine the type of extremism it's going after. Now, this is the New Republic, the official shitlib bureau there is. Okay, the ADL has abandoned all pretense of tracking anti-Semitism properly. Okay, they just admit it counts all pro-Palestine activism as anti-Semitic. That was last January. Fewer than half of all of Americans now are sympathetic toward Israel. Again, I discount all polling right now, but the Americans that know about what's going on in Israel are certainly not sympathetic towards Israel right now. And more ways, people are waking up to the horrors of imperialism, so the empire is finding ways to silence its critics. And one of the best ways to do that is to deny those with influence the ability to earn money. So much for free speech, so much for the free market.
Such free, much wow.
All that free speech. All right. One of the most frustrating aspects of this story is that many Republicans who are backing the law change had previously spoken against debanking. This will come as no surprise to our readers who are well too aware of Republican hypocrisy. The Trump administration are no more champions of free speech than they are of anti-imperialism, and only a fool would think otherwise. Again, think about the Republican reaction to the debanking of the Canadian truckers.
Truckers, yep, I was about to say. And think about some other groups' reactions to that, too, who are now talking about the debanking as we speak. So, just saying.
Republican voters need to learn that their party is not on their side any more than the Democrats are. Both parties are awful, but too many voters are only able to see the evil in their team. Or in the other team. They can see the evil in their team, too, but they ignore it. We spent years criticizing Democrats for this, and it's only right when we turn our attention to Republicans now that they're in charge. And I honestly heard a similar sentiment last night from Marcus Cage on the Political Matrix. Shout out to Marcus. He said, look, I criticized Trump when he was in office before. I'm going to criticize Biden when he was in office. And now that Trump's back in, I'm going to criticize him again, too. Same here.
Mm-hmm.
Call like we see it and challenge the people that are actually in power. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Whereas Trump is right to call for peace in Ukraine, even though he's really kind of playing both sides of the fence like he does everywhere else. He's obviously doing it for the wrong reasons. Agreed. Similarly,
it just feels good to sit on that fence, but whatever.
Well, he likes doing that. Similarly, easy for me to say. Speak English. Do you speak it?
English, motherfucker. Do you speak it?
Thank you. Similarly, he is right to criticize Europe for its attacks on free speech, but he is doing that for the wrong reasons too, naturally. Trump is every bit as authoritarian and imperialistic as his European counterparts. He just has different goals. Trump didn't back out of the Ukraine war because he cares about Ukrainians or because he's owned by Putin. He simply didn't want to back a loser. Also, he didn't want to back a loser. Also about that he had other ideas for where he wanted to divert that money. The best win for Trump was to exploit Ukrainians for their mineral wealth. The biggest difference between Trump and the other imperialists is that he keeps saying the quiet parts out loud. And on the speech issue, Trump is simply shifting from censorship in favor of neoliberals to censorship in favor of conservatives. This means that for many of us, little will change, and that's what we've seen. Those who criticize imperialism or the Gaza genocide will be every bit as censored that we were before, if not more. All right. The key difference is pro-censorship centrists who were protected under Biden will find themselves censored too, and the nutters who support Trump will find their bile amplified. Sure. From my perspective, this is again Ricky at Council of State Media. We're just swapping one form of hatred for another, but the biggest concern is those who make a living from criticizing the empire will now be demonetized. Censorship is the only motivation for Trump's move to allow debanking. And they're siloing us and funneling us into a world where right now it's PayPal, Cash App, and Stripe effectively are the ways to get money into your bank account. What?
You're an Apple guy. Do you have Apple TV?
No, not anymore.
Silo?
I had it originally, but I stopped. I stopped watching it.
It seems a bit like predictive programming. Like, yes, let's stick society in a silo and trap them and see what happens.
So he says, ironically, one of the people who oppose the move is Laura Loomer, Trump fan, who has been banned from. Yeah, but she's been banned from platforms such as PayPal and GoFundMe. So therefore, just like a Republican, only once it happened to them or somebody immediately connected to them will they actually pay attention to the problem and realize it's a problem. She complained, Republicans are now paving the way for more debanking in America. And where's that graphic of the worst person you know just made an excellent point? Chase Miller is usually handy with it. Like if I ask him for it, it's just there immediately in the DM threads.
Mm-hmm.
All right. While some of you may have celebrated when Loomer was debanked, this kind of thing was only ever going to hurt us more. We've seen anti-imperialist outlets like Mint Press News debanked in recent years. Consortium News, too, off of PayPal. We've seen Stripe demonetize Substackers. We've seen YouTube demonetize creators who challenge establishment narratives. Like this channel that you're probably watching on right now, Indie News Network. Demonetization is not democratic, it's corporate fascism. Can we get that tattooed somewhere on like the CEO of YouTube's head or something? That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Trump recently announced that free speech is back in America and called out the Democrats for trying to jail political opponents, but then he posted this on Truth Social, quote, all federal funding will stop for any college, school, or university that allows illegal protests, let alone that there are no illegal protests. Agitators will be imprisoned or permanently sent back to the country from which they came. American students will be permanently expelled or, depending on the crime, arrested. No masks so that we can facial recognition you. Thank you for your attention to this matter. douchebag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I find it interesting that there were not very many retweets or likes on that, at least when it had been screen capped. It must have been very early on after he posted it, because I'm sure there were a ton of sycophants and bots that ended up swarming and doing that. There are some protections from debanking in the U.S., but of course, Trump wants to remove those puny protections. Once they're gone, you can expect to see anti-imperialists targeted for censorship like pro-Palestinian immigrants and protesting university students. That means us, guys. Expect to see a situation where the likes of PayPal and Stripe are blocking the payments of writers and journalists who offer alternative perspectives, which is exactly how we tell you to support us. Expect to see a more censored internet. And while you may think this will only happen in the US, Europeans have been making their own moves to censor the internet. This means writers like Ricky could be screwed either way. We face the very real risk of losing our livelihoods simply because we're telling the truth. The politicians who criticize China for censoring the internet have outsourced their own censorship to corporations. They privatized our right to speak like they privatized everything else. The last thing we need is more corporate control over our lives. And big shout out to Ricky over there. Give him a follow. Yep, so depressing to see what's ahead. Can't agree more, unfortunately. But again, Trump continuing that same level of censorship, if not higher, just in different ways. And it's only affecting different people. So, welcome to the future. Shit where you please. The Wi-Fi's killer, but there's no more bees. All right?
I thought there was no more knees.
No, there's definitely more knees. They don't take away your knees. No, that's Wally. All right.
Oh.
Did this person speak out when people were debanked for going against the COVID narrative? A lot of people did speak out. A lot of independents certainly spoke out because they saw what was coming. Hemcar, good to see you. Before Zinn passed, he said to read the chapters on COINTELPRO and women in the BPP on democracy from Mumia's book, We Want Freedom. Yep. Free Mumia, by the way. Yeah. So, yeah, it would be nice if we lived in countries where we didn't have all the governments that gave people so many reasons to protest. That's nice. That's a great point, Jack. That's Jacqueline Jack. Good to see you. These amazing people have supported INN. And just like I said, debanking, oh boy. So if that happens, we're then going to have to say, okay, pass in crypto. Great. Which is also what they want. I mean, how else are we supposed to? Or we just say, you know what? We're just going to fund this on our own. And that's what a lot of people are going to either have to make the choice to do or, deal with an alternative form of getting funded and supported by their creators, whether by their fans, whether that is having somebody, sign up for a StreamYard account and take care of the StreamYard or Restream account for the year, or whatever that is. There's going to have to be ways around being, debanked for people, especially if there's people that want to watch. There's always, we're always going to try to stay one step ahead. And look, there have been people that they get paid around sanctions. They get paid around all kinds of different stuff. We're going to have to figure it out. Yep. And yeah, exactly. Think our savior, Mr. Salas, he will save the world with crypto. You bet. Terrible. So we're going to have to figure out some other alternative form. And I think that a lot of people have been looking at that. And the problem right now is that the crypto market, and if you watch my conversation from Saturday with Golden Monarch, there's a lot of capture in the crypto market. There's a lot of billionaire influence in the crypto market, and they've scooped up a lot of the available supply that's out there. Yeah, that's a QR code. It's right above Reef's head too, by the way. I don't know why you're putting it over your face. Are you saying?
What?
You're blinking Kofi over your face. Do you know that?
What? Oh,
Okay.
I don't know that.
Okay.
That's weird. Why would that happen? That's a weird glitch.
Yep.
Strange.
Bad Cookies is saying to buy gold. All right. You can buy some good old Fort Knox gold on eBay. Yeah, I'm not sure I would do that.
Gold. How about do that? Mine your own gold. Go pan for some. You know?
Sure.
So make things, build things, sell that.
If you are able and of means, please support the networks and support the independent media that you want to see. The best ways to do that are via Cash App, $, Indie News Network, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, and paypal.me/Indie News Network. You can sign up for newsletters and alerts at innnewsletter.com, and that's totally free. You can also support with an annual or monthly contribution there, too. Support independent media because we need it more than ever, fam.
Bye, have a great time.
No! We just fucking lost the stream!
Can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen to 50,000 dead? And now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. No, why play civil when all these dead won't make you listen? What's more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? God, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause now that I can see the cause so clearly. See, I want our leaders, regardless of party, to fear me.